for good reason that the word virtue sounds very similar to the Latin word for man. This is because from the ancient perspective, for me to be a man, I must fulfill my nature. To be what I was meant to be, I must cultivate and exemplify these good habits known as virtues. But before enumerating them and giving some examples of each, I think it is important to realize where the virtues fall in our equilibrium of behavior. You see, for many, we've come to believe that virtues have certain opposing habits, and it makes sense why we've done this. Using our experience of the physical world where up has a down or the sun has its moon, we've made the mistake in assuming that justice simply must wrestle with injustice, or courage with cowardice, etc. But that is not the whole of it. You see, virtues do not dangle dangerously on the edge of a cliff, hoping that they weigh more in our minds and movement than the more destructive patterns of life. No, if we need an image, it is more like virtue is a central and still point of a pendulum, not thrown this way or that. Or if we want to get more poetic, we could say that the virtue is the mean between two rapacious lovers, lovers who would gladly destroy the object of their existence. All this is to say that there are two opposing vices for every virtue, two dangers for every soul that wants to live life according to his or her nature. On the one hand, a vice similar to the virtue will try to bring you to a point of excess, and on the other hand, a vice similar to the virtue will try to bring you to a point of depletion. One is too much of the virtue and the other is far too little. And so prudence does not just need to worry about imprudence, but impatience as well as inaction. Hope must be very much on guard against despair and presumption. Courage must keep both cowardice and bravado at bay, and we could go on. Now consider how powerful this knowledge can be for one who is actually concerned about bettering themselves. In our home, for example, we talk often about the virtues and vices of each family member, those gifts that come easily to some, and those chief vices that each member struggles against. Just the other day, my 7-year-old Benjamin was quite upset. He walked into my study and said with downcast eyes, "They are talking about my vice, and no one is encouraging my virtue." You see, our family rule is that we can only discuss each other's depletions or excesses of virtue if it is done within the context of charity. So Benjamin was right to be upset. He knows what he struggles with and where he's become unbalanced. And what he needs is the love and ingenuity of his family to help recover the best of himself. So, as we begin our discussion on these most winning habits of body and soul that we call virtues, remember, you are meant to be virtuous. And all other swings of the pendulum, wildly destructive vices that they are, whether shamefully hidden or glaringly obvious, well, they're not you. And if you find yourself, after some honest reflection, losing hold of the center where virtue lives, surround yourself with your loved ones and say something like, "I need you to encourage me." We'll talk soon. Join us next week as we dive into the topic of prudence and explain why it is time you and I become a little bit more prudish. We'll talk soon.